I am so sorry. Been trying to have that phone call for 5 days. And of course, the very moment that I get here to do this live, the phone call comes in. So my apologies. All right, now very quickly, let's get into this. Need to do some updates because there is information. there's information that's being put out by a rather a fairly substantial size YouTube channel. I mean, it's not a 500,000 subscriber. Why will that not stay connected? It's not the big 500,000 subscribers, but pretty significant. So I want to clear up some misinformation. And this is, obviously about the Sarah Boone trial that is just now gearing up. We're nearly 5 years after George Torres Jr. was found dead inside of Sarah's apartment, zipped up in a suitcase. She called 911 on the afternoon of February the 24th, 2020. Here we are, October 2024. So by February, that will be a full 5 years. Now, you may ask, okay, but why? Why did it take nearly 5 years for this thing to go to trial? Well, because Sarah is a game player. She's calculating. She has some needs to be important and to be seen and to be noticed. And part of that is to present herself as highly knowledgeable, smarter than your average bear, even though, she graduated high school decades ago and never really got any kind of training. But in her mind, she tells herself that she is special. She even says to the investigator, "You obviously don't know who I am." And when he says, "Okay, I'll bite. Who are you?" She says, "Well, for one thing, I always make straight A's." And I'm just like, oh my goodness, Sarah, you haven't done anything since high school? Nothing that makes you stand out? Your claim to fame is from high school. So that is very typical for people with histrionic personality disorder. I don't know that she has that. She has been evaluated by a licensed clinical psychologist. And so we will find out what her diagnoses are. My guess is that there'll be histrionic personality disorder with narcissistic features, and probably maybe a bipolar diagnosis, definitely alcoholism. She has a history of having been abusive in both of her serious relationships with George and then also with Brian, her ex-husband. She also, really leaned on Brian and got money from him and called him and had him go pick up the son when it was supposed to be her day. And he sort of kind of dutifully just accepted being put in that role as husband, surrogate husband, I suppose. And she just has no qualms at all about asking. Again, she's special, right? In her mind. She is delusional, right? She does have a fixed belief that she's better than other people. Not so much in this narcissistic PD type of way, but the histrionic way that she needs to be significant. And so that brought up this question, why did she turn down the really bird nest on the ground plea deal? She would have served about 8 years. Basically, they were letting her lower the charges and plead guilty to manslaughter, which is actually one of the potential outcomes in this case going to trial. It could be that the jury finds her guilty not of murder, but potentially negligent negligent homicide, second degree murder or manslaughter. So she could end up getting that 8 years anyway. And with the videos, the recordings, the history of arrests with the police department, her ex-husband's testimony, she is not going to get acquitted. Like, that is not happening. So this was actually one of the most foolish things that I've ever seen. And I think it gave us a glimpse into why it is that Sarah has had 9 attorneys. That's why it has taken nearly 5 years to go to trial, because she would get an attorney, a public defender, and then she'd start writing these crazy letters to the judge. And she would say, they're rude to me. They're not nice to me. They're imbeciles. They're buffoons. They don't know what they're doing. And all of these people, all these attorneys were just like, please, judge, let me off of this case. Finally, after the 8th attorney requested to be off the case, and Sarah was like, yeah, make her leave. I don't want to have anything to do with them. The judge then said, you are pro se. You will not be offered another court-appointed attorney. You have to defend yourself, period. And then James Owens, the current 9th attorney, he saw her story on court TV when she made this handmade, like a teenager, like a high school kid, made this handmade little poster saying, would you like an opportunity to be a part of history? And he volunteered for this misery. And I think what we saw the other morning, I think we got a good glimpse into, he said he tried to do a plea agreement early on, and the prosecution was mad, and they said, no, leave us alone. We're not dealing. You kidding? After 4.5 years? No, after everything she's put us through, no, we're not going to do a plea deal. And then boom, they jump up with one, because I think of the hurricane and the fact that the judge's kids were sick. I think altogether, they just wanted this woman out of their lives. She is exhausting, right? And I think her attorney said, take the deal. Like, you can't hope for anything better. You will not be acquitted. You might be found guilty of a lesser charge, manslaughter, but you could also be found guilty of murder, and you may get life in prison. Take the deal. This is a winning deal for you. And she is, nope, rejected. And let's look at the personality. Let's look at the motivation, the intent here. Imagine, we've got letters of Sarah's where she's talked about her fans, right? Her fans want to see her. Her fans. Look, this was a mediocre woman living an obscure, tiny little life. Hasn't worked in 2 years. Drunk by 9 a.m. every morning. And now she envisions herself to be a social justice warrior for abused women, right? She's picked up the mantle of Betty Broderick, the previous abused woman who killed her husband in The New Bride. And Betty loved it. She absolutely loved being important and having interviews and seeing people talking about her and seeing her picture and her story in the newspaper. Loved, loved, loved. She felt significant. And remember, narcissistic personality disorder is, the thing that guides them is this intense fear of being revealed, that people will realize what's underneath all of that made up, facade, and will see the broken, weak person beneath. But with histrionic personality disorder, it's different. The fear is to be invisible. The fear is that you as a person lack any type of significance at all. That's worse than death. She would rather go to prison for the rest of her life and be someone than have her freedom and be a no one. That is the guiding energy for histrionic personality disorder. And then, of course, borderline personality disorder. What is the fear? An intense fear of abandonment, right? So Sarah and Betty Broderick, they both have the histrionic thing happening, and they have some narcissistic features for sure. So I think she did. Can you imagine currently she is someone, right? She's having her name, people on YouTube are talking about her. She's in the newspapers, yada, yada. She feels like, okay, finally I'm noticed. I matter. And she's using that. She wanted professional makeup and hair and clothes. I mean, she is really using that. She's pushing that envelope to see just how important she is. But had she taken this plea deal as offered, today we would not be talking about her. Today she'd be off to jail to spend 8 years out of the spotlight. Today she would be back to being just Sarah. And I think she hated being just Sarah. I really do. I think she absolutely hated it. And I think she doesn't care if she ends up in jail for life. I think she would rather keep her fans, keep her infamy, embrace the role of crusader for abused women everywhere. I think that is more desirable than having her freedom and being a nobody. I mean, you think about it. If she wins her freedom, she has no home to go to. Brian, her ex-husband, has already cut off alimony. He's not paying her alimony anymore. He's taken steps so that she doesn't have any parental duties or rights toward the child. She's not going to have any place to live. She hasn't worked in years. Now she's got this to have to report. And she's just going to go back to drinking. What kind of life is that for her? I think she is definitely enjoying the time in jail. I also think that her time in jail is not bad by comparison. I think she's probably well liked among the inmates. I think they feel like they did with Jodi Arias. I think they feel like they have a kind of pseudo celebrity in their midst, right? Someone that people are seeing all over YouTube and seeing in the newspaper. And so I actually think it's pretty good. She's sober. She looks much, much healthier than she did the day that she was arrested. She gets her food. She's got a roof over her head. I don't know, y'all. I just think she would much rather be the crusading warrior for abused women and be locked up than have her freedom and be homeless. I really believe this, but that's my take. Everybody's got an opinion on why she rejected that plea offer on October the 7th. That was my thought. I think her personality deficits, she needs to be interesting. The worst thing for someone like Sarah is to be invisible. It's the absolutely worst thing that could happen to her. And so this case has really given her something she's never experienced before, except maybe the brief time that she was on the Nickelodeon game show. So, so there's that. Now then, the misinformation that is being put out there by a significant channel, okay? Wrong information, wrong. All right. Yesterday, so they're trying to seat a panel of 50 potential jurors that have been vetted and, haven't heard about the case and all that. They want a panel of 50, and they are going to choose from that 50. I believe they're going to choose 8 jurors. There will be 8 jurors, not 12. And then here's where the misinformation is. They're saying that they're going to choose 4 alternates. Absolutely wrong. 100% wrong. They're actually choosing, did they choose 8? I think they chose 8 alternates or 12 alternates. Hold on. I should have written that down. I think it was a total. Let's see. Yeah, they're doing. Okay, 6 jurors with 8 alternates for a total of 14 altogether picked. Only 6 people will deliberate and do a verdict. But the judge has said, and this is verified, correct information. Okay, I'm not guessing here. 14 jurors in all will be picked out of a panel of 50. They have their panel of 50 today. So hopefully we'll have a jury seated before end of the day today. They will have 6 jurors that will deliberate, but they are taking 8 alternates. So they're going to choose a total of 14 jurors out of that pack of 50. Okay, that is accurate. And the judge said, this has been such an unpredictable path with Sarah. He doesn't want to run out of jurors. I don't know why he would think that might be a problem. Well, we do know, because Sarah's rather curious and manipulative, and she chaos sort of follows in her wake, correct? So I say good job to the judge. And I don't know, I might would have even gone with 12 alternate jurors. So you started with like 18 jurors. But look, he knows what he's doing. The trial will last 3 weeks, or they believe that it will last 3 weeks. Let's see what else. It does have to be anonymous among those 6 that are chosen to be on the jury itself. Were there any other questions? Well, DB, there are so many alternates because Sarah has been so chaotic and unpredictable because she ran through 8 attorneys. No one has ever seen that before, right? And so the judge he is going to make sure that this ends, that this is finished. He's tired of messing with her. He's tired of her antics. And so he said he's going to make sure that he's not going to run out of jurors. So the jury will be 6. They're choosing 8 alternates for a total panel of 14. And we won't know until, who's actually going to be deliberating until it's over. 3 weeks. And then I was rather shocked. My jaw hit the ground because they were saying, oh, but surely Sarah will not testify. Surely Sarah is not going to get on the stand. Okay, people, question to you guys. If you think that Sarah Boone is not going to testify, put on. If you laughing and going, oh my God, a pack of wild horses could not keep this woman off the stand, put a 2. I'm just going to go ahead and drop my number in the chat. Here's my number. Not a pack of wild horses nor Elon SpaceX rockets could stop that woman from testifying. You betcha. You betcha. they did the hearing, trying to get her interrogation thrown out, right? Do you know how crazy well, not technically a narcissist, Caitlin. She's more histrionic personality disorder with narcissistic features. But they had the hearing, and it was so bizarre to put her on the witness stand. It wasn't needed. She didn't have anything to say that was helpful at all, and she actually, shot herself through the foot. So again, I think James Owen said, no, you're not going to testify. And she said, the hell I'm not. You watch me. I am. This is my life. This is my trial. This is my infamy. And I want to testify. I want to. Everybody should know the truth. And I'm here to tell the truth. And then everybody will love me just fine after I tell them the mean, bad things that the cops did to me. She has absolutely no belief at all that she is responsible for the death of George. Guarantee it. She is playing up her victim role. And look, yesterday, today, and then back on the 8th, when they were supposed to, when she got the plea deal offer, she was grinning and smiling, especially today, grinning and smiling ear to ear. She is loving this. She is tickled to death that she is, special, right? So yeah, you can't stop this woman from testifying. She is gonna get up there so that she can tell everybody her story and have her moment in the sun. And she wants people to know that she matters, that she's special. So this is going to be, after seeing her turn down that or reject that plea agreement, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So your life, you're talking about serving 8 years compared to serving 22 years or life. Take the 8 years. You'll be out before you're 50. You can still have a life. But I don't think I think she is really, really tuned in to her fame or infamy. I think she feels validated. She likes the fact that she is someone now. She really likes that. So she can't not explode. Oh, boss lady, totally agree. If you just look at, let me, y'all give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves and let me get this pulled up. Hold, please. Just 1 second. Okay, we don't want the recap. We want the full. Wow, where is it? Okay, I think this is it right here. Oh, that's the whole. Oh, here she is. Let me get it to the right place. Hold on. I hope you guys are all getting ready for Halloween and do some trick-or-treating or wear some costumes. Have some fun. All right, let me share this. Not all straight A students have common sense. Absolutely, DB. Especially when they've spent 20 years intoxicated, right? all that drinking can really have an effect on cognition. Okay. So, talking about her, exploding on the witness stand, being able to tolerate the prosecution pushing back at her, or the judge, hold on. Look at that little grin. She feels special because the bailiff is helping her and getting everything arranged. And she does have quite a bit of kind of like dupe and delight. Like, I think she's tickled to death to be in the spotlight. Watch her face. I guess I should slow this down so we can see that micro expression, right? I love micro expressions. Look how tickled she is. She is like, this is cool. This is like being back on TV again. I'm destined for greatness. I'm Sarah Boone. And then watch her she gets herself under control. She says, okay, let me get my sad face on. I got to be a victim here. Now she's struggling. She kind of looks like the little actress on Napoleon Dynamite, doesn't she? Oh, man, come on, dude. Get out of the camera. Still smiling. Oh, that was kind of a mean look at him, wasn't it? Ooh. See, this is why I like the slow motion, because you can catch those micro expressions. She's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. You got to work for me, don't you, Mr. Owens? Okay, now she's got her sad face on, okay? Everybody see her sad face? I really think she's barely able to control laughing right there. She is loving this, y'all. All right, let me put it on. I mean, I'm amused by this woman. I don't know why. The histrionic stuff is kind of funny, right? Well, not funny like haha, but peculiar, different. Like when you run across someone with histrionic personality disorder, everybody can feel that the person is different, that they're unique somehow, right? That it's hard to put your finger on. And so that's kind of what's funny about her is she's just like, they offer her 15 years plea down to manslaughter, and she sits there like the Queen of Sheba and she says, rejected, 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 judge, rejected. Don't you know who I am? And I just thought, oh my God, what? You cannot reject that plea deal. That is one of the best plea deals ever offered on the history of the planet. And she rejected it because I think she didn't want to lose this. She wanted this. You see her grinning. She likes this. She likes that the camera's there. She likes that she is no longer Sarah Boone, obscure alcoholic. She really, really likes that she has fans and people are tuning in to watch her, and that she is the avenging crusader for, abused women everywhere.
At the Orange County Corrections Department.
Have you been there since February the 25th of 2020?
Correct.
Was that the date of this interrogation that we're here for on this motion?
Yes.
All right. Let me take you back to the.
She likes it, guys. She likes it. Let me ask y'all, do you think that she's getting a kick out of this? Put a 1. If you think I'm reading this all wrong, put a 2. Donna, oh my goodness, Donna, that's such a great analogy. She's like a tail wagging the dog. The many fired attorney, she's delaying the inevitable. She loves all the attention. And I think those fired attorneys made her feel special. I think she felt powerful, making them lose their jobs. I think she liked that, right? And then right there, you can see she's grinning like a Cheshire cat. She is going to, you are so right, boss lady. The first time that judge says overruled, that is going to light her up like a firecracker. She is not that the reason I'm playing this is I want you guys to watch her mouth, watch how she reacts when the judge and the attorneys get to talking. She feels slighted. She feels frustrated. And then when he gets overruled, then she, gets all kind of like rolling her eyes.
Morning of
But she's grinning. She's having a great time.
finding George Torres in the suitcase. You called 911?
Yes.
Is it true that Detective or Deputy Kayla Rodriguez of the Sheriff's Department arrived?
Yes.
There was no reason for her to take the stand at all. None. Zero. And she
What mental state did you have at that time?
she has badly hurt her case by doing this because she interjected that she was drunk or intoxicated. So there were multiple things that were said that proved she was not in fear of her safety with George that night. This was a disaster. Her testifying during this hearing was a disaster. And it could actually end up costing her her life. This judge may throw out her right to use self-defense. Then what is she going to do? After you've got all these court documents that you're going to claim battered spouse syndrome, now you're going to go, oh, well, it was just an accident. I personally, look, from my position, I personally think this case does look like negligent homicide or manslaughter. That she was just neglectful. She was impaired and neglectful, and her alcoholism and her stupidity resulted in his death accidentally. That's what I think. She had a better chance at winning. For one thing, this whole self-defense stuff, he got arrested 4 or 5 times, but they were all misdemeanors. Sarah was arrested once for DV, and it was a felony. You think the prosecution is not going to grill her on that? Yeah, this is a terrible defense. That much better to try to follow that initial report of it's just an accident. We were playing. I got drunk, passed out. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. That would have been a much better prospect than murder, and she spends the rest of her life in prison. So she's not smart. She's well, let me say it this way. I think she is smart. Okay. I think she's probably average to, she's probably somewhere just below 120 to 110. But I think that the level of histrionic need is so big that it interferes with her logical decision making. I think her deductive reasoning is really disrupted by this really, really difficult personality disorder that is affecting her so profoundly and is affecting her attorney and the judge and the prosecutor and anyone that knows her.
I was very confused. It was very hazy. I didn't understand the monumental amount of people that were there and what they were doing with from my home. I was worried about my dogs. I was worried about my son.
Notice she's painting herself a victim, right? That's what she's describing. She's describing, I'm a victim. That's not what she should be describing. She should be talking about her fear of George. She should be talking about that she was terrified that she was about to get beat or worse, killed, and that she couldn't let him out because she was so terrified that when she did, he was going to come for her, right? That's not what she's doing. She's going directly against that, and she's just saying, oh, it was just such an unfair thing. The whole event was confusing and it was unfair. And, you know, I'm such a good and timid little mouse. And all I cared about was just my two little dogs and my son. And we were just doing puzzles and we were painting. And those are very innocent activities. And people who do puzzles and paint and play hide and seek, those people are innocent. They have their childlike innocence. She's just manipulating. And it's terrible. It's really, really awful work because it's only about Sarah. I want them to look at me a certain way. Impression management. They need to see me as the victim.
I was in shock. I was traumatized by the situation, and then trying to focus on everything that was going on at my home. I was hungover. I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree.
Objection, Judge. Move to strike. This is outside their motion to suppress. They have not made any allegations that her statement was involuntary because of her mental state or state of intoxication.
Response?
Judge, we're talking about, I'm just getting some preliminary information.
Look at her mouth.
Her interrogation is the next day.
The state has an obligation in the case law cited by the state.
She's mad. She's mad already. She's mad. She knows that judge is disagreeing with her attorney. And she's mad. She feels like they're stupid and that they should be listening to her and listen to her telling them what happened. She's completely delusional. She has no realization. Sarah, there's a dead body in your apartment. And the reason that body is dead is because you zipped him up in a suitcase and left him there all night long. Oh, yeah. And hit him with baseball bat. She's totally disregarding that. And she feels like this judge is picking on her right now, interfering with her time in the spotlight. He's messing up her time to get the attention.
Requires specificity in the motions. So it's not a game of 20 questions and a surprise.
Okay, this is the day before the interrogation.
I understand that.
We're not talking about.
Look at that mouth. What is she doing? We've all watched the behavior panel, right? We love the behavior panel so much. What is that body language telling you right there? She's saying to herself, keep your mouth shut. Do not open your mouth and let your thoughts spill out all over this judge. I guarantee you that her attorney read her the riot act about keeping her mouth under control. But it is so hard for her. It's like she wants to super glue her lips closed. Look at, she's actually biting on that lip to keep it closed. This is going to be a crazy trial, and I am going to be there for it because this is really incredible. That look on her face. Wow. She is saying, this is not your argument. Keep your mouth shut. Let your attorney handle it. But in her mind, she wants to tell that judge, you're wrong, judge. You're not listening to me, judge.
about an
But are
intoxication.
you going to be arguing anything in conclusion as to what happened?
She rolled her eyes at the judge.
We're not talking about an intoxication.
But are you going to be arguing anything in
Right there. Right that little second right there. We just miss it. It's hard to catch it. So she rolled.
I understand that.
We're not talking about an
But are
intoxication.
you going to be arguing anything in conclusion as to what happened on February 24th led to any coercive or coercion behavior on behalf of the Orange County Sheriff's Office on February 25? Are you going to bootstrap or link any of those things together?
The interrogation in the squad car and what was said to her prior to getting in the squad car that relates to what she said about it being routine protocol, yes.
All right, I'm going to sustain the state's objection.
Relating to the intoxication?
Yes. It wasn't raised in any of the three motions that have been filed.
Judge, I didn't ask her that. She volunteered that.
She's mad. She's angry. Now she's going to be mad at her attorney because she's going to say her attorney dropped the ball by not including that she was drunk.
Understand it. Objection sustained and stricken.
She's mad.
Did you speak to the deputy about what had happened?
Yes.
Okay. And then were you asked to stay on scene?
By both, yes. By both detectives, yes.
Okay. How long did it take the detectives to arrive after you had spoken initially with Deputy Rodriguez?
It was not right away. I don't know specifically, but it was not quickly.
Okay. Did the two detectives, when they arrived, did they take over the investigation?
It was my understanding, yes.
No foundation for her to conclude anything.
Sustained.
At some point, were the detectives directing you what to do and where to go?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain what the detectives told you as it relates to you getting in the car? What, was the phone issue before the car?
Yes.
Sustained.
Let me ask you about the phone. When were you first asked about your phone?
From my remembering, it was once they arrived, one of the first questions that Hopesell asked me was if I owned a phone.
And what did you tell them?
I told her it was on the kitchen counter.
All right. And what happened next as it relates to the phone?
I believe that it was brought to her with someone else. I don't remember.
Sustained.
What was the next thing that you were told or talked to about as it relates to the phone?
Unlock it.
Who told you that?
Detective Hopesell.
How did you unlock it?
She handed it to me and I unlocked it.
How do you unlock your phone?
It was with a passcode.
Okay. And when you unlocked it, did you give it back to the detective?
I did.
All right. Did you ever see the phone again?
I did not.
Okay. After that incident, was the next time you were spoken to by Detective Copesel was in relation to the interview in the squad car?
Yes, she told me I needed to go with her and Detective Lowen to her unmarked vehicle.
And did she tell you anything about what was going to take place once y'all got inside the vehicle?
That she was just going to be asking me general questions.
Was there ever any mention about normal protocol?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. What about once you got in the squad car?
I don't recall the squad car.
Okay. And that was recorded for the court to consider. And so she read you your Miranda rights?
Yes.
All right. Did you answer the questions?
I did.
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a suspect?
No.
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a person of interest?
No.
Did they ever refer to the videos that you recorded on your phone from the night before?
No.
Were you ever questioned about those videos at the scene?
I was not.
All right, after they finished
Look, here's the truth, people. The cops can lie to her. They can say whatever they want to say to get their questions answered, to conduct their investigation. Now, she cannot lie to them, but they can absolutely mislead her. So acting like the cops were in the wrong because they, did or didn't say something, or none of that matters. They are the detectives. They're conducting an investigation. They can do what they want to do. Her attorney knows this, but at this point, I think he's just compliant to her. I think everything that we're going to be seeing, it's going to be Sarah's decision going against her attorney. I believe that in my heart.
Interviewing you in the unmarked vehicle, were you allowed to get?
I mean, let me ask you this question. Just watching her demeanor, right? I'm going to turn this sound off, let this play. Just watching her facial expressions, her demeanor, the way she carries herself. Does she seem very engaging? Do you like her? Or does she seem quite off-putting and very unpleasant? Yeah, this is one defendant you would not want to put up on the stand. Look, Charlie Adelson, hell yeah, I would have put him up on the stand. If that decision had been left up to me, 100% I want him on the stand. Why? He's charismatic. He's funny. He's moderately attractive. He's definitely brilliant. And the truth is, he really did convince a lot of people that he was innocent, that he did not cause the death of Dan Markell. He really did. And I'm talking about people on court TV and Law and Crime. So yes, I would want him up there. He was calm. He managed his body position. He kept his shoulders open and inviting others to listen to him. I even think in some ways, he even kind of charmed the prosecutor a little bit. She definitely walked away flustered and frustrated that she couldn't get him. But this one is not going to be the same experience. People do not like her. She doesn't have, excuse my language, okay? She doesn't have resting bitch face, quotation marks. She just has active B face, right? The look on her face, her body language, the way that she holds herself sends a message of superiority. It sends a message that says, I know that I'm special, and I also know that you're an idiot. She even wrote those words about her attorneys, and in one case about the judge. So this one, I would not, if we could just even keep her out of the courtroom altogether, I would be a happier attorney. But at the very least, I would do just what they did with Jodi Arias. I would say, sit down. Here's your paper. Here's your pencil. Draw pictures. Keep your head down. Do not look up. Do not look at the gallery. Do not look at Travis Alexander's family. Keep your head down and your back to the audience. Pretend you're not in the room. That's exactly what I would have done. We saw the same dynamics play out with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Same exactly the same. Johnny Depp gets up on the witness stand, and he's got the whole courtroom eating out of his hand. Even the judge likes him. The court reporter loves him. Everybody loves him. Why? He's warm. He's charismatic. He's friendly. He seems to be gentle. He engages people and brings them in, and he's funny. He's definitely can control a room. Amber Heard, on the other hand, oh my God, Amber Heard. Who is more off-putting and unlikable? Sarah Boone or Amber Heard. I don't know which one, but they're both very, very close. So, it was an absolute unmitigated disaster to have Amber Heard up on that witness stand. So, no, I don't think Sarah should never have testified in this hearing. She had nothing to bring to the table. She messed up her defense by talking about that she was intoxicated, yada, yada, that she tried to present herself as this victim. That may have single-handedly gotten her a guilty verdict for murder. So, no, I wouldn't want to put her on a stand, and yet that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what is going to happen. Yeah, Travis Alexander was the man that Jodi Arias murdered. That was the boyfriend that she murdered. Let's see. All right. Amber versus Sarah. I know one thing. I would much rather go to have dinner with Betty Broderick than with this girl. All right. So she's a bit off-putting, and she's
Red
not going to
shirt,
bring anybody
with
over to
his
her.
firearm and black pants
His firearm was on his waist?
the entire time, yes.
Okay. So y'all got off the elevator? Where did you go from there?
He brought me into a very small room, and they had me sit down, and then from there I had a list of things that I was going to ask them that I might need to do or that I could do.
Okay. So from
Okay. So right there, what her attorney has been trying to set up as the reason to throw out the interrogation, she's just destroyed. And here's what it was. He said that they used the firearms on their hip, saying, oh, we must talk about this, not reading the question on the Miranda, do you agree to speak with me? That all of those things served to send the message to Sarah that she was being controlled and had lost her freedom and did not have the right to say no. That's what he argued to the judge and the prosecutor. Okay. Sarah just said, well, I have a list of questions. I brought a list of questions. I came to pick up my phone, and then I had all these questions I wanted them to ask before I went home. Oh, okay, Sarah, but you can't have it both ways. Either you thought you were under their control, you were under duress, and that you were afraid of the cops, or you were in control. That, oh, well, should I contact his family? Should I contact the apartment people? What should I do next? You thought you were in control. You thought you were going to go in there, get your phone, and walk out. And they did not know about the videos the day before, the day of the murder. They didn't know about the videos because they had not yet, pulled everything off of it with Cellbrite. And I really think she was so drunk, she didn't know those videos were on there. She didn't remember doing them. I really do believe that. So come on. This was such a disaster for her to be on the stand. And if they're dumb enough to do it again during the trial, it is a guaranteed guilty verdict, in my opinion.
From the elevator, Detective Lowen escorted you directly into the interview room, and we've got the recording, the audio and the video. You didn't go anywhere else prior to that time. Was there any discussion that you made outside, any discussion between you and either detective about anything, the phone, questioning, anything before walking into that room?
No.
Okay. So directly off the elevator and walked into the interrogation room.
Right.
And then we've got the video on that. Now,
I think we need to speed it up, don't you? Going way too slow.
you and I have watched the video, correct? And you've seen the motion where I referred to the question where she asked you to sit down.
Yes.
You recall that happening?
Yes.
Did that refresh your memory watching the video?
Yes.
Do you recall her saying that she had received the autopsy?
Yes.
Do you recall her?
Okay, so Skinny Nona is asking a question about neurological function. How much does her alcoholism affect her thinking at this point? How long do you need to be sober for function at your best to function at your best ability? Well, that believe it or not, you actually ask a really good question, but it's pretty complicated, a lot of nuance in the answer. So let me just address it like in theory and give you sort of a broad answer. So I think you're exactly right to consider if she's getting drunk every day, she's drunk by 9 a.m. And staying drunk all day, she really had very little muscle structure. She's primarily skeleton and skin when she's arrested. It does look like her liver is not working properly. She's got a lot of bloat in her abdomen, which is a sign of liver failure. And she's got the very swollen cheeks. So she's got a lot of capillaries busted in her face. So at the time of her arrest, she does show a lot of markers that we do associate with fatty liver or, damaged liver from alcoholism, right? There's acidosis. So at the time that she's arrested, I think that her system is really beginning to shut down, right? Cirrhosis of the liver, maybe. Now, if you see someone with those markers, they've had muscle wasting, so they're just skin and skeleton. They're having cirrhosis of liver, fatty liver, acidosis. You've got fluid gathering in the abdomen. You've got broken capillaries, which indicates the circulatory system is under duress. And then the swollen cheeks and whatnot, that's directly related to the breakdown of the liver and the kidneys. If we see that depth of physical impact from alcohol, I think it's most people that work in the field would definitely expect to see neurological damage from the alcoholism, correct? So you would have someone like that if somebody with cirrhosis came into the hospital and they were having these various symptoms, the swollen face, the big chipmunk cheeks, that is a huge marker that someone is actually in physical danger of dying from alcoholism. You start seeing that, that's a big marker. So those people would be referred to psychology for testing, right? They would have a forensic psychologist that would measure brain function and how well they're still managing information and manipulating and such. If there is brain damage from the alcoholism, if there's brain damage from the constant state of drinking and being dehydrated and poor nutrition, lack of sleep, yada, yada, head injuries perhaps, then you wouldn't really expect that lost functioning would return. Now, in the case if you have a healthy brain and you have a stroke, then you've got about 6 months to work and regain lost skills. During that 6 months, there's rapid growth and repair in the brain, and people can learn an awful lot and work around the damage that's done. Then you have an extended period of time from about 6 months to up to about 12 months, even some people would say 24 months, where you would still get a window of opportunity to regain lost skills, just not to that dramatic level that you see during the first 6 months following brain injury, stroke, or whatever. it's a little bit different with alcoholism. The damage is not to one localized place. It's usually quite diffuse. And so there's a lot of damage in a lot of areas of the brain. Active alcoholics can lose as much as 10, 11 IQ points over the years, depending on how long they've been drinking, just from damage from the drinking. So I don't know that I would expect that. She's been in jail for 4 or 5 years now. So she should be healed from alcohol itself. I would expect that her liver would be working better. In fact, look at her face. You don't see the chipmunk cheeks. You don't see that big, heavy, round, puffy area here. Also, her stomach is more flat than when she was arrested. And she does look like she's added on muscle and weight to her skeleton. So all of those things really do seem that, yeah, she is physically healthier. But you don't have any way of knowing what type of brain damage she could have experienced from the alcoholism. We don't have any way of knowing that unless, I went in and did testing, right? If I went in and did my thing. Now, she does have a clinical psychologist that has interviewed her and done testing a couple of different times through this process. She was seen by the psychologist initially upon her arrest. So they do have a baseline, which is really great. They will have a baseline in that week or so after she had been arrested. They did do testing then. And then when James Owens came on the case, he went back to that same Tallahassee clinical psychologist and said, I'm on the case now, and I've gotten it approved for you to get paid, for you to be one of our expert witnesses. Will you please go and evaluate Sarah again? Which she did. So we have at least a baseline and then a contemporary measure, and you can compare those two to see if there's been any improvement in cognition, anything that looks to be long-term damage that didn't repair, and blah, blah, blah. So I hope that answered your question, Sketty Nona. Did it? I know it was a lot, but I told you that was a really great question, but not a simple answer. Definitely, absolutely, alcoholism can affect cognition and learning, memory, focus to attention, but it can also disrupt speech. You can develop aphasia from the type of damage that can come from alcoholism. You can develop movement disorders, unable to make just a smooth stride, that your walking begins to look very staccato and uncoordinated. Alcohol is incredibly damaging. I don't drink the stuff, not because I'm in recovery or anything like that. After taking my class where I learned about the brain and neurology and the different, how different drugs of abuse affect the brain, when I saw that, what an alcoholic's brain looks like, no, done. Don't have any interest in destroying my brain, but also don't want to destroy my liver or my kidneys either. But yeah, you're exactly right. For sure, alcohol can really interfere with your natural abilities. Yep. All right. I've seen alcoholic seizures and then just get up and carry on with no medical reporting, just head back to the drink. Never underestimate the uncanny ability to do what they want. If they want to drink, they will figure out how to drink, and no hospital can shut them down and stop them. I have seen crazy stuff. All right. She definitely looks better. No question about it. Let's see. Sarah Boone mug shot. Let's see. Yep. Open in a new tab. Okay, and I can make it bigger. Hold on. Ah. Okay. Ah, why won't it go away? Okay, now exit. All right. All right, let me share this. I didn't realize that my face was on the screen. I hope my mouth was not hanging open. If it was, just don't make fun of me, please. Okay. Share. All right, so here, this is the day that she was arrested. And look at the difference in this area, her cheek and around her chin. Remember the little girl that was in Poltergeist, the little blonde girl? She had that same swollen pockets right around here, the lower part of the face. It actually goes down into the limbic system is quite swollen. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. It's too complicated to get into all that. But this is a characteristic mark. This is a tell that doctors and nurses know when you see this, you better check liver function like immediately. So you can see the swollen areas here. You can also see the bright red busted capillaries. Look at her chin down here. And it does look like she's just overall lots and lots of zits and, skin really, unhealthy. And she looks rough. I mean, she does. She looks really bad. And now she looks much healthier than what we see here. So let me go back here. Share screen. Share. Now you see the difference? Even the skin tone, she doesn't have all of that zit. The face is not all bumpy and none of the swollen that we saw earlier. Even under her eyes, there's none of the swelling. Her nose is a regular normal size rather than rounded and puffy. So, so she's healed physically from the abuse of alcohol, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't some long-term damage done. So that I think it's a really great thing that that they did the initial investigation and did the testing when she was first arrested, and went back now a few weeks ago and did the testing again. It's going to be very interesting to talk to to listen to the psychologist in this case. All right, and then here's the end. You can see the anger on her face. Here's the end as she is about to get down off of the stand, and she's not happy. It didn't go the way her delusion told her it would go. She wasn't fabulous. She didn't knock everybody's socks off. They're not all eating out of her hand. And she's probably going to blame the attorney and the judge. It's going to be their fault. They're going to be imbeciles.
She said she didn't know
What are the legal grounds of your objection?
I mean, she's even like smug, like she thinks her attorney's about to stick it to the judge. I'm going to tell you something. This judge is over her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't care. He wants this put to bed and move on. He is very unhappy that she ended up in his courtroom.
All right, you may proceed.
All right. And you understand that you're charged with second-degree murder in this case, correct? You're facing a potential penalty of life in prison, correct? Do you understand that the score sheet minimum is probably about 22 and a half years?
I don't know.
Okay.
And you know that's not true. She sits there and says, I don't know. That's not true. Her attorney told her that. Her attorney told her that. So she's even committing perjury on the stand.
And it is your desire to have these statements excluded from the jury's consideration, correct?
Judge, I would object to that.
Sustain the objection.
Your intent is to testify differently than you have testified in the statements
Yes.
in State's Exhibit 1, correct?
Yes.
Regarding the
I would object to that. I'm not understanding what the question.
I understood
Mr.
it.
J.
Judge, a witness's bias is always at issue when they take the stand, and it's our position that her credibility for all the things that she has testified to today, that particularly the things in conflict with Detective Copsel's testimony, and the court, of course, in a motion to suppress has to consider the credibility of the witnesses, and you are in the best position to do that. The appellate courts are going to be very deferential to you. It's our position that she's biased. She is charged with second-degree murder. She's facing life in prison. Based on the examination that both state attorneys and defense counsel and the state's expert witnessed today, it is the state's belief that she is intending to testify differently than she testified in the statements that she provided to law enforcement in
That's
State's
right.
Exhibit 1. And therefore, she is biased in all the things that she's testified about today because it is her intent to get this statement, all these statements, or the statement on 225 thrown out so that she is not going to be cross-examined, impeached with it so that she can testify the way that she testified this afternoon.
Yeah.
Response.
Judge, I agree with the impeachment about being under the influence. I agree with the impeachment about what she's facing, that she may be biased because she's facing potentially life in prison. He claims 22 years on the low end. I agree with all that. We just got through at the jail meeting with the state's expert who evaluated Sarah Boone. I was present. The two prosecutors were present. It wasn't recorded. He can't be a witness now. If he's going to question her about what was said during that evaluation, then he's putting himself in danger to be a witness down the road. I don't think that's proper cross-examination about what she said there versus what she's saying here.
Anything further? Mr. J.
I am not specifically asking her what she said that was different. And obviously, if I did and she testified differently, I would have to accept that answer. There's no way for me to extrinsically impeach her with that due to the brevity of the time frame that we have all been subjected to. But I do believe it's a fair question to ask her whether or not she intends to testify differently than her statements that are in State's Exhibit 1 and consistently with how she testified this afternoon, and that she understands it would benefit her if these statements are excluded.
So I'm going to sustain the objection based on how the question was asked. I'll allow you to revisit it based on how you just explained it to me.
You gave statements to an evaluator this afternoon, did you not?
I did.
All right. And without going into the details, would you agree that there are some differences in those statements as to what is in the statements you provided to law enforcement on February 25th of 2020?
Yes.
And you understand that I would be able to cross-examine you on giving inconsistent statements at trial if you take the stand, correct?
I understand.
And so you understand the benefit of this motion to suppress being granted.
Of course.
No other questions?
Any redirect examination? Okay. We can have Ms. Boone return back to counsel's table. while she's in the process of returning to counsel's table, anything else further from an evidence or testimony perspective from your side of the ledger?
Yeah, she wasn't happy about that. Okay. All right. So okay, why aren't you? Oh, there we go. Did that work? Nope. All right. So there you have it. I think that I think that this attorney tried to do the right thing and step up and help this woman. And, it's just impossible that a normal person goes through 8 different attorneys and can't get along with any of them. That's a big, huge red flag. And frankly, James Owens was foolish not to heed that red flag. Now he's in the thick of it. And I think he has put his hands up and said, you know what? I'm going to let her do whatever she wants to do. I'll give her my suggestion. I'll tell her what I think she needs to do, but then she's going to push back and I'm just going to let it go. And that's how I'm going to handle Sarah Boone. So I don't think this thing is going to go well for Sarah. I don't. And, it's her fault. It's her fault. She had 9 attorneys try to explain to her why she was not the victim. That her original story that afternoon at the apartment, oh my goodness, it was a horrible accident. That was the proper defense because that was the truth. Now she's gotten her head all screwed up. She's the great avenging crusader for, domestic violence spouses all over the world. And she's put that cloak on. She's picked that mantle up and it says, I'm going to speak for all the abused women that have not had their time in, front of a microphone. I'm going to speak out for all of us and I'm going to be somebody. And that's the problem with personality disorders. You're not dealing in reality. A personality disorder being an ingrained pattern of behavior that affects you, impacts you in multiple areas of your life. And this is it. You're seeing it in action. And so it is very important. If you get diagnosed with a personality disorder, please find you a good psychologist. You won't like working with them. You won't enjoy the work, but it's much better to try to calm and quiet the personality disorder, change your pattern of thinking, then it won't have the ability to influence your decisions that you're making, right? So she was an equal abuser, and in some instances, you might even say she was probably the primary abuser, and George was having reactive violence. He was fighting back, trying to stop her from hitting him and such. That's a common pattern in domestic violence. So this is going to be a trip, y'all. This is going to be crazy. So, Judge, good job. I love the fact that you chose 8 alternates. Thank you. I do think you're going to end up losing a lot of jurors. We only need 6 jurors to deliberate, and it does have to be a unanimous decision. She is so toxic to herself and to others. And I see a lot of people say, oh, Sarah Boone is so dumb. No, I don't think she's dumb. I think if we were able to give her a WACE 5, I think she'd clock in around 110 to 120, something like that. I don't think she's dumb. I think that the influence of the personality disorder that she may have, that the influence, I think, is very powerful, and it's causing her to be foolish. She's not considering all aspects of the problem. She can't tolerate if she does have histrionic personality disorder, she would not be able to tolerate the idea, I'm going to serve 8 years to save myself a lifetime. That's the personality disorder. She can't do that. No, I'm not. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to serve any. In fact, the state of Florida owes me an apology and money because they have kept me locked up for 4 years and I am the victim. That's what she's telling herself. Promise. So, Jet Set J, I'm watching from the very beginning. So, have I responded to something in chat? It might be from something that was said earlier. That's fine, Jet Set. Understand. Tracy Hernandez, how are you doing? She can't handle the 20 plus years. Again, this seems weird. This answer seems strange. I don't think she's suffering in jail. Okay. She's not suffering in jail. She's healthy. There's no alcohol for her to get access to. No benzodiazepines, nothing like that. So she's not physically ill from the poison. She's got friends, which she really didn't have before. She's got meals to eat. She's got a bed, a room. She has infamy. And so there are people in the jail that look up to her. She's got street credibility, right? She has fans, if you will. She's got the likes of Peter Tragos, handsome guy on YouTube talking about her, using her name. You think those inmates don't know that? Of course they do. So she'll definitely be able to make herself a place in the prison that is not miserable. And she may actually find out that she's happier in prison than she's ever been in her life. That it could be that. So, and I said the same thing about Charlie Adelson, and people got so angry with me. Okay. But I said, look, guys, Charlie Adelson is not going to be miserable. I know y'all want him to be miserable. I think they want him to be killed. I really do think so. But he won't be, and here's the reason why. And I've worked in prisons. I've done evaluations, and going for therapy or teaching about domestic violence or parenting classes, things like that. So what will happen with Charlie Adelson if they can get him away from the gangs of South Florida? He's very, very, very intelligent. He's a genius. He has specialized science knowledge. Kind of sounded like Trump, science. He has specialized science knowledge. That makes him incredibly valuable right there to the prison population. They want to feel like they've got somebody that would have their best interests at heart. And so, if they're having dental problems or medical problems, they'll be able to go to Charlie and go, Doc, I'm really having this problem. And they told me X, Y, Z. And do you think that sounds right? And then he says, well, open up your mouth and let me look. And he goes, no, you have an abscess. In fact, if they don't do something about that abscess, you might die of blood poisoning. So you better, ask to talk to your attorney. So he will be very valuable. And his crime, he didn't harm a child or a woman. It was a conspiracy to commit murder. He hired, according to the state, he hired someone to kill this guy. And the reason that he wanted him killed is because he believed that he was abusing his sister. People in prison are not going to be upset by that. They're not going to care. Now, if you're hurting a little kid, the inmates will kill you. They'll say you're a terrible person. Same thing goes for hurting women or whatnot. But to take out the guy that's beating up your little sister, no, they might even make you kind of a hero, right? So he's also got money. He's got a lot of money. So they're not going to want to alienate him because he might be able to give them an extra $100 for commissary. He's going to have a lot of friends. He's going to have power and influence within the prison population itself. Even the guards are going to buddy up to him just because of his knowledge as a healthcare provider. So, you know, a lot of people got mad at me. They were like, no, he's the devil. He needs to die. I hope the Latin Kings kill him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if you guys are wrong about this guy? What if he had nothing to do with the fact that Dan Markell died? What if it was all Donna and Katie and his sister? Because that's the truth. That's the more likely. Why would this guy who's working 60 hours a week, making millions of dollars every year, why? He didn't even hardly ever talk to his sister. Why would he say, oh yeah, I'm totally going to put my life, my freedom, my fortune in jeopardy to kill a guy that I don't even have to deal with, who's not even a factor in my life? And everybody said, oh, because they were enmeshed, because Donna was the matriarch. You were wrong about that. Go back and listen to the phone calls. Charlie tells Donna, be quiet. And he says, I got to go. I got to get off the phone. Bye. He didn't care. He was in control of his mother. She was not controlling him. So, yeah. So enough of that. I believe she was the primary aggressor. I think so too, Tracy. I know she put George down every single chance she could, used law enforcement to keep him in check, had the house phone, car, alimony place to flee, and he could not agree. She did not like George's music, the things he watched, his family, his children, nothing. She said she got mad at him because he was talking about his kids. That was the time she choked him. Wow. And that was a felony. Plenty of juvenile BS for her in jail. It's a manipulator's playground. Totally agree. She will be writing letters to the warden and she will absolutely be writing to the governor. Yes, that is right up her alley. She is going to be very important. She choked him because he thought of something besides her for a second. Yeah. She'll be stirring the pot every chance she gets. She is the queen of litigation. All right. So there we have it. I think that you won't be able to keep her off the stand. She is definitely going to take the stand. I think this trial is going to be an unmitigated disaster for Sarah. And I think we're just going to be along for the ride. And I think the judge is anticipating this. He knows what he's dealing with. He knows what's happening. And I think that's why he said that he wanted 8 alternates. He knows what's going to look like. Hey, just looking, I think she's found her people in jail. I totally agree. And there will be a lot of people that will be happy to become her lackey, right? Because they'll perceive, I mean, she's very well spoken. She does speak with confidence, even though she may be saying something wrong. She speaks with confidence. She carries her body with like she's in control and strong. And a lot of people will fall in line underneath her to be part of, Team Sarah, right? They'll want to be friends with Sarah because they will perceive that she will end up being quite influential within the political strata within the prison. Kranick is a good judge. He's very thorough. Agree, Tracy. And I think he is so over this woman. I think he is really, he's dreading the next 3 weeks, would be my guess. I think he is realizing this could really go off the rails very quickly. And we need to keep everything nice and tight, right? Don't let anything get out of control. Hold everybody to a T to the letter of the law. And I think he's not looking forward to this, but he's ready for this to be over so that she is out of his life. She has brought misery to his life for 4.5 years. He's ready for her to be gone. she'll be worse without alcohol. All of her energy will go towards the craziness. Prison is going to be a lot different for her. I think the population won't be as tolerant of her at all. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. One problem she may run into, just looking, you may be right, is he from was George from El Salvador, or where was he from? Was it Central America? I don't remember where he was from. Where's George from? Let's look. Let me check too and see where they are in court. Let's see. See if we got any updates. Oh, we got to have some updates here. She wore green today. That was nice. 3 of the 50 potential jurors this afternoon immediately recognized Sarah Boone and gasped. They just read off the list of witnesses, state's witnesses, to the panel of 50, and to see if any of the jurors recognize the name. And 15 of the 50 jurors made it past the hardship round. The remaining 35 were struck for cause. Reasons for striking included they were either full-time students, vacations had already been paid for, or there was health reasons or childcare issues. 2 of the jurors indicated they have seen the video of the man in a suitcase. Juror number 35 stood up and said that she could not be a fair juror. Let's see, they're supposed to be coming back after 1:45. And so it's 3 o'clock there. So they're back working. Went on potential break. Yes. Oh, what about Wednesday? Opening, let's see. He's shooting for 8 alternates for a total of 14 jurors. Might settle for less than that. No, he won't. Opening statements will not happen before Wednesday. Sarah was very animated with her attorneys today. Sarah, oh, no, that was the other day. Yeah, not starting until Wednesday. We get opening statements on Wednesday. That woman is out of her mind. She felt so important, as if she was in a high executive meeting. That was from Janet. The jury process totally reminds me of the X Factor. What do they get to when do they go to the attorney's homes? Okay, so that's really all that they had to say. And let's see where, I don't remember where George is from. Where is Jorge Torres Jr. from? Well, why did I think that he was from another country? Because remember the parents, his mom, this is saying he's an American citizen. He was born, okay, so George Torres Jr. was born February the 13th, 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But I think the family, like the mom or the dad, like it's El Salvador maybe, or Hispaniola. Because Sarah made a big deal out of saying that they called her, what was it? The white, blue-eyed Satan or demon or something very, very dramatic that she said. But implying, oh, I'm scared to death. Jorge's parents are going to kill me, or his family is going to kill me. And then she blamed it on her blue eyes. And I'm like, no, maybe they're going to do that because you keep beating up George. And now he's dead. Probably doesn't have anything to do with the color of your eyes at all, Sarah. She is a trip. All right. So very good. Any more questions? It will be interesting to see which way things go for her in jail. Prison's going to be a lot different. Just got back in time to hear they gassed. Yep. 78 was a good birth year. Happy birthday, Kellyo. The white dress. Thank you, Just Looking. I stand corrected. Sarah she said that she is the blue-eyed white dragon. Honestly, Sarah, they're not mad at you because you have blue eyes. They're not going to try to kill you because you have blue eyes. They're mad at you because you keep committing violence against their beloved George. And now he's dead at your hands. That's why. But, she can't. Her delusions are very powerful. All right. You guys, thank you for sitting around chatting and having fun today. I know, Kelly, it's hilarious. I appreciate it. I enjoy talking and seeing how everybody is doing. I'm going to do this every day. Now, Thursday, I think I have 11 or 12 patients, so I will not be live Thursday night. I will Wednesday and I will Friday. All right. So we are going to keep up with this. The other trial that I'm trying to follow along with a little bit, and I just really, I'm hesitant to really discuss much, is the death of Quentin Simon. And I have my reasons for this, me kind of being hesitant to really talk much about it. But we can certainly talk about it if you guys want to come up on panel, and I'll just sort of sit back quietly and let you guys talk. And then if y'all ask me a question or something, then I can answer it. But I don't really want to lead that discussion just because it is, it's too close to what I do in real life. And so I don't talk about Child Protective Services and that kind of thing on my YouTube channel, because this is my hobby. This is y'all my friends. All right. So I try to stay away from that. I don't do many of the child abuse or child murder cases, just for ethics principles. Right. So but I'm happy if y'all want to talk about it one day, maybe something really wild happens in court, then certainly we can do a panel and y'all can come up on the panel and have a discussion about it. And, I'm happy to answer any question that you guys might have. With the Sarah Boone case, I will be going live. I intend every day except for those days where I'm working like 12 or 15 hours. Then I can't. I will have a co-host who will be talking about the case as well. So you're all welcome to come up on panel. Everybody's welcome. But for sure it'll be me and another woman, and we'll be talking about it, most of the days, as long as I don't have an 11, 12, 15 hour day. But all the other days we will definitely be doing. Okay. That poor child, all the children who get abused, let alone killed. Oh, and the one thing I'm going to do on that case, I'm going to show, probably do this tomorrow. I'm going to show the video of Leilani driving in the car, basically recording her SI note, right? She's doing like a vlog type of SI note rather than writing it out, right? We're going to talk about that. There's a lot to talk about. She was absolutely manipulating and nothing else. Nothing else. So, but I'll show you why. I'll show you why I believe that. Okay. So I hope you guys will find some courage. Oh my goodness, boss lady, that is the prettiest baby I think I've ever seen. He looked like a little elf, didn't he? He looked like one of Santa's little elves. He was so precious. Although I will say this, he and Leilani both looked like they had some fetal alcohol syndrome. It could also be a genetic marker that's been passed down, but the grandma doesn't look like that. So there's some stuff that looks a little suspicious, but nevertheless, Quentin was precious. Absolutely one of the most beautiful babies I've ever seen. Absolutely. Just beautiful, beautiful baby. So I hope you guys will work on your courage and be willing to come up on panel and talk a little bit, but you don't have to, of course, if you don't want to. All right. We're really busy in the true crime community right now. So we have these two big cases, the Quentin Simon murder and then this Sarah Boone circus. And then we've got Delphi that is really, turning up. And Idaho 4, that's turning up. So there's a lot. Did I miss one? Seems like I missed one. Lori Vallow is getting ready to go and have another trial. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, Sebastian Rogers. I don't know where you stand on the whole Sebastian Rogers thing, but Seth has taken the gloves off. He's had enough now, and apparently he and his attorney are going to be releasing the CPS reports, and that he says, and Tony Mathis says, that when we see what Sebastian was subjected to, when we see the CPS reports, then we will all know that Katie and Chris are psychopaths. And he made mention that, no, I believe it was Tony Mathis that said Sebastian should have been allowed to take out a restraining order against Christopher Proudfoot and Katie. And here's the other thing I don't understand. They lied to the state, to DCS. They lied to them and said that Seth was out of Sebastian's life, that they didn't even know where he was. And that's how they were able to stop Seth from getting the DCS reports on his child being regularly abused. They just totally lied and hid it from him. And thankfully, he got an attorney and was able to get access to those documents. And I personally don't understand why Katie Proudfoot, I mean, Christopher too, but why hasn't Katie been brought up on charges for that? You can't just, you have joint custody with the other parent. You can't just lie and say, no, the other parent's not around. I wouldn't even know how to find him. He's gone. You cannot do that. You're denying that father from making medical decisions for his child, and it's joint custody. So I do really hope that Katie is about to find herself in handcuffs. Yeah, I think so. So, and then the whole lying to the cops or lying to government officials. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Just Looking. I really appreciate it. Just Looking said, glad I found your channel. Just subscribed. Great people in chat. Very respectful. So thank you, gems and gemstones. Thank you for being sweet. All right. Yeah, it definitely worked, Kelly, because he had not seen any of these reports at all. And when he got his attorney and they were able to get access legally to these reports, he was devastated. He was devastated by what his son was experiencing at the hands of his mom and stepdad. So, here's the thing about Chris and Katie. Maybe it looks like they were successful in the short run with this restraining order against Bullhorn Betty, right? But come on. No. Listen how weird this is. Someone who works with Christopher Proudfoot, who's worked with him for a long time, knows him really, really well, right? He told one of the private investigators that no one at the job site, none of the other crane operators, the people at Shriners, no one knew that Christopher Proudfoot had a stepson or a wife. He talked about his daughter Faith, but never said anything about his wife Katie, and never spoke of Sebastian. They were blown away to find out that not only was he married, but his stepson was the kid with autism that had gone missing. That is what we call a very bad sign. So this thing with Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot, not over, not by a long shot. And, if they get arrested, that they were responsible for something happening with Sebastian. If they get arrested, the actions, the behaviors of Cluminati and Cletus, they may find themselves in hot water too. They better be careful, because there's bad things about to break wide open around this family. So that is coming. Maybe we'll see it on the weekend. I'm kind of guessing maybe Friday night. So we'll see what happens. I think if you go to the lab, Josh might be, he might be a channel that Seth might be comfortable releasing that information, or he may decide to go to Court TV or Long Crime or Vinnie Politano or something to release it. But I think he's very comfortable with Josh and his friends, and that might be, where we end up seeing it. So, all right, y'all, I'm done. I hope that you've decorated for Halloween and you're excited and you're looking forward to it. We've only got a few, sorry, my phone has been ringing off the wall today, and I don't know why. We're down to just a little over 2 weeks, like 15, 16 days for Halloween. And then we'll be on to fall and Thanksgiving, and then finally Christmas. That's the one that I really go all out for, to decorate and whatnot. I do a little bit for Halloween. But we also have birthdays at that last week of October too. So we do some birthday stuff, but that's always kind of Halloweenish. But anyway, you guys, thank you for being here. I surely appreciate it. And I will see you guys for sure tomorrow, where we will, in fact, talk about Sarah Boone and updates on jury selection and such. And we'll also do some discussion about Leilani, although I'm going to be really careful about not getting into the particulars for Quentin and the testing and I'm going to be really careful about keeping my professional life separate from my personal hobby life. Okay. All right. So you guys have a wonderful evening or afternoon. And let me see if we got any more questions here. Hey, Quintessence, good to see you. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. All right. Quintessence, I'm just now joining 2 hours late, but I love your intro with the music and the pumpkins. It's so loud, Quintessence. I think that's probably what I'm about to do. I think I'm going to go back into my Camtasia and take that music off and try to do something else. I love the visuals on it, but the sound is awful. So yeah, please, if you don't mind, would you please hit the thumbs up before you leave? I invite you to subscribe if you have not already. It just, makes me feel better because it makes me feel like my channel's growing. And you'll get notifications if you sign up and hit the bell. So it's a win-win all the way around. I feel good. You feel good. All right. Have a wonderful day. I will return tomorrow. See you then. Bye.